Hey y'all, what's going on? This is my top 3 favorite baits for the month of October for some bass fishing. This is a great time of the year to be on the water. The temperature is really nice. There's not a lot of boats on the water. Everybody's kind of done for the lake season, and it's pretty much just fishermen left out here. So it's a great time to be on the lake. But like I said, my 3 favorite baits that I'm gonna have in the boat day in and day out to catch some bass out here on the lake. Number 1 is a buzz bait. Some sort of top water obviously is important. It could be a popper or a spook or a whopper plopper, but my personal favorite is that buzz bait. You can cover a ton of water. You can catch a lot of fish on it. I've caught some of my biggest top water bass have been on a buzz bait. So not only is it a numbers bait, but it works really well for big fish as well. So that's just a half-ounce buzz bait with a little split tail trailer. That's actually a little Zoom spinnerbait trailer, but 7'1" medium heavy rod, a 7-to-1 gear ratio reel, and then I throw 15-pound fluorocarbon on my buzz bait. And if you're curious about that, there's a video by Gerald Swindle where he's talking about it. Just look up Gerald Swindle buzz bait setup or something. He can explain the reasoning behind that. But like I said, my number 1 bait is going to be that top water, specifically a buzz bait. Like I said, it's just a really good bait. You can cover water quickly. You hit the lake first thing, and you've got 2 hours in the morning to just run around, cover water, and put some fish in the boat and potentially get your biggest bite of the day. And as the day goes on, I make a change to two baits in particular. One of them is going to be a little jig, and this jig right here is the perfect size. It's very versatile, and you can do a lot with it. So I've actually been watching the NPFL event at Logan Martin this week, and you'll notice a lot of those guys are flipping boat docks with jigs. Well, in between docks, they're swimming this thing down the bank. They're throwing it up around some grass. So this isn't technically a swim jig, but a jig this style is very versatile. You can do a lot with it, and you can just lock it in your hand and go down the bank and cover some water just like that buzz bait. And this is, once again, this is going to get you fish off of a boat dock, off of a point. Maybe you're fishing around some blowdown, some wood, anything like that. So this right here is my second go-to bait. And of course, like, that's just kind of like a little natural crawl color, a little purple trailer. It's really just personal preference. Each lake's a little bit different. Your crawfish might have more red and more orange, so you just kind of want to match that up with the forage in your lake. But then I'm throwing that on depending on how heavy of cover you're fishing, more open water around boat docks, I'm going to throw that on a 7'2" medium heavy. And then as you get into maybe flipping around logs or trees or something, you might want to go to like a heavy action with 17 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. But out there in the open water, you're probably going to be good with 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon and a medium heavy rod. But like I said, that little jig is a great bait for the fall. You can fish it, 20 foot of water or 2 foot, just whatever you really need to do for that day. And then lastly, another great bait to try for October. And this is a great bait all months, but really October is when this gets kicked up where I live. That jig head minnow, utilizing forward-facing sonar. I know a lot of people, feel one way or the other about forward-facing, but if you're just wanting to come out here and catch some fish, it's a great way to do that. You might not catch this is probably not going to be your big fish bait. Every once in a while you'll catch a big one on it, but the jig in the top water, that's going to be where you get your big bite. This right here is just going to put fish in the boat. You can just come out here with like a little, a 3/16 to a 1/4 ounce head, depending on how deep the bait fish are. And then you just pick your minnow. A 3.5 to, I would say, probably a 5-inch minnow is a good starting spot for that. 7'1" spinning rod, medium action, medium light, depending on what you're doing. 10-pound braid to 8-pound fluorocarbon, and you're good to go on that. But utilizing that forward facing, scanning around the boat, looking for groups of fish swimming in a wolf pack, looking for a bait ball and 4 or 5 dots trying to attack them. So that little jig head minnow with the fluke/minnow style trailer is another great one for this time of the year. But like I said, as long as you're out here on the water, there's nothing better than being out here on the lake and kind of having it to yourself. So if you come out here with a top water, specifically like a buzz bait or a whopper plopper, and then a little jig, and then that jig head minnow, you'll definitely be able to put some fish in the boat. You got a chance at a really nice one, and like I said, you can have a good day on the lake. So like I said, that's my 3 top baits for the month of October to do some bass fishing. I appreciate y'all watching this video, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.